not only do we cold approach, not only do we give you the sauce, not only do we give you the game, not only do we put it all out on the line, but today we are bringing you a very special episode that we think is missing across all areas of life, really and truly. Like a lot of the time, this comes from the mind of Tez. This is Tez's idea. Tez, bro, let us know what the fuck is happening up in this podcast live stream over here at 5 Star.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. And really, you were talking, and while you were talking, I'm like, we need to talk about what makes a man. So it really, by you speaking, it helped me come with this idea. So we made it together, made it make sense. So we're going to bring you some heat on what even is a man. Because a lot of guys are confused, they don't know, but we're back at it. We're bringing it to you live in 5 Star live stream. We're here. We're going to keep bringing you some fucking heat. So let's get it.
You know, and I'll say this, as we're getting into that topic, right? The more that you and me have sat down and talked with women and spoken with women, it is a recurring factor that each and every one of these girls, if we ask any of them, are you experiencing a lack of masculinity? They're like, jump in at the forefront to let us know that is actually happening. That is their actual real life experience. What do you think about that? Like the fact that these girls are just literally out here in America complaining about the lack of masculinity.
It's real. Everyone's confused. Men are confused. They don't know how to be fucking men. They're feminine as well. So I get it. There's a lack of masculinity. There's a lack of femininity. And that's why we're here to help to get rid of the confusion. That way we can all be in our natural state and make it happen and make it work.
Big facts. You know, some of the common complaints that like is easier generalizations to understand is that like men in Canada are very soft. So because men in Canada are very soft, what will happen is women in Canada don't want that shit. They'll come out here to fucking Miami and be like, I'm looking for daddy big dick. You know what I'm saying? They want some real masculinity in their life. Another common complaint is between Spanish and Brazilian women, in that they will find that Spanish or Brazilian men are pretty fucking soft, and they're not trying to deal with that, because what will happen is that the Spanish or Brazilian men will lean into more of a feminine way of communicating their emotions and shit. And because the girl is supposed to be doing that, she's instantly turned off by that, and then she's coming out to America to find some stronger men. But in doing that, I'll say that from the women that we've dealt with, we've heard them say that there's more masculinity in American men overall compared to those countries. However, if you start asking American women about their experience with men, usually what it goes like is something along the lines of the man is soft, or the man is basically leaning towards gay on the spectrum. So that is not attractive to women. Most women are just straight women that are looking for a man to have that dating experience with. And to see that we have this complaint at all-time high, me and Tez have dug into the sauce of what makes a man, and that we really feel is truly, we think and we know is truly missing from not only the manosphere, not only the red pill, but it's missing from every facet of life. It's missing in the schools, it's missing in Hollywood, it's missing in the jobs, it's missing in the homes, and unfortunately for you, most likely if you're watching this video, it's missing from your relationship. So me and Tez are going to dive in with the sauce and give you the actual fundamentals overall on what really truly makes a man.
Definitely, yes, we are. And it's easy if you don't have a male role model or a strong man to look up to, like a father figure, uncle, or whoever the case may be, then you're not going to know what a strong man is. If you just have your mom, your aunts, or some females around you, you might be confused on what actually a man is, and you want to be that strong man. You might have a girlfriend and you don't know how to lead, or you don't know how to do the right things, be decisive, because a man never showed you that before. So we're going to tell you how to actually be a man and what a man is, because if you don't have a strong role model, the next thing you know, you're looking up to women or girls to be that example for you, and that's just not going to be the most optimal way to be the best man possible. So we're going to give you some sauce on how to actually be a good, strong man and break down what a man is. And it sounds so taboo and so just like, what is a man? It's common sense. Like, we all know what a man is, but we're going to peel it back a layer further than just you having a penis, right? Because obviously a man is someone with a penis. So we're going to peel it back. Mentally, what is a man? How does he behave? And what does he do? So we're going to get right into it.
Yes, as a man, you are allowed to have a penis. If anyone is telling you to cut it off, you don't have to.
And I know they don't. And I don't say like saying the word penis is. I would say other shit, but or other stuff. We're on these platforms being PG. So hey, it is what it is. We got to get this message out as far as it can possibly go, and for us to not say these words, it's gonna reach a bigger audience. So that's what we have to do, and that's what we're gonna do.
That being said, we are on the 5-star live stream TikTok. So if you guys are tuning in, make sure you go ahead and follow us on TikTok. We're doing everything to get you guys in here and give you real sauce on this show. So let me go ahead and start off by one of the fundamentals of what a man actually and truly is, right? In contrast to what you're probably going through, if you're a father and you're taking your kids to public school and you're constantly surrounded by this need to be liked culture, what's going to happen is if you give in to this I need to be liked culture that's more supported by the feminine mentality, right? Because let's contrast men to women for a second and what you might be going through in your real life out here in like the school system where a lot of indoctrination starts against masculinity. In the feminine mindset, women only think about what other people think about them. And because women only truly care how they are being thought about or what other people think about them, they virtue signal a lot and they need to be liked a lot. So they speak in a language that needs to reinforce the fact that not only do they need to be liked, but they are a creature of insecurity as well. So because they need to be liked and they are a creature of insecurity and they care about what people think, women are going to use language and a mentality and create a culture of absolute fluffy BS sugar-coated nonsense that makes them feel good when they communicate. When being a man, you have to look at all that fluff and tell it no. You need to stand for something, right? These women know that they're lying to each other. They know that they're insecure and they know that they're fluff-based language speakers. So because they know that, if they see you doing that, they're expecting leadership out of you and what you stand for. So that's the first pillar. A man is somebody that stands for something. And when a man stands for something, a man knows when to say no. You have got to know that sometimes you've got to be the bad guy. You do not need to be liked. You do not need the fluff language. You do not need the reinforcement of virtue signaling. What you need to do is you need to be you. And in being you, you need to stand for something. So something that I do all the time is that I tell you guys that I am a Christian and I stand for the work and person of Jesus Christ by all means. If you do not like me for it, I will still go ahead and push that in your face. But it doesn't even matter because it doesn't stop there. Look at me and Tez doing this podcast. We stand for a traditional value system of dating that is obsolete, outdated, and frowned upon in 2025, but was highly revered in 1955. Before we were even born, we're still hardwired to uphold tradition by all means necessary. So if you don't like that, you could take me and Tez as an example of men who say, we do not care what you like. We do not care what you think, say, do, or feel. We will uphold our values and what we stand for. So one of the first tenements in being a man is looking the system, or looking the people, or looking the women, or looking the zeitgeist, or looking whatever is the feeling of the time in the face, and saying, hell to the no. I know what I stand for as a man.
Definitely, and then that's a good point. And another thing that makes a man in the confinement of a relationship is someone who's willing to take all the risks and all the pressure. So if something goes wrong, whether it's planning a date with the girl or meeting her at a specific time, letting her know what to wear, what you guys are going to do, you're a guy who takes risks to where if it goes wrong, you're at blame for it. Because some guys, they don't want to plan the date, or they're afraid that the girl might not like the date. So they'll say, babe, what do you want to do? What do you want to eat? Or what do you want? Where do you want to go? And they're putting all this pressure on the girl because they're afraid that if it goes wrong, that she's not going to like him. So a man is a guy who's a risk taker, who's willing to, if shit goes wrong, everyone's going to blame him for it, and he's okay with it because he has direction. He knows where he's going. So if you're a guy, you're watching this, and you're wanting your girl to pick whatever you guys do. You're wanting your girl to be responsible. You're wanting your girl to drive the car wherever you guys go. You want her to always be driving. Like, no, you need to take the pressure in any situation, and it needs to go onto you. So if shit hits the fan, you need to be the one to blame. Because in a relationship, either way it goes, if she's the one that's to blame for it, she's still going to blame you. So she's going to find a way to not take responsibility for it. So you might as well just take initiative, be a man. A man is someone who takes initiative and does what he wants. And you're responsible for whatever goes right and whatever goes wrong. And that's what's going to help you out in a relationship. Because a lot of guys, they're indecisive. They let their girl pick everything. And they think that's more attractive, but it's not. She doesn't want to have to deal with all that pressure. She doesn't want to have to deal with all that responsibility. She doesn't want to think when she's around you. She wants to just take the back seat. You lead, be in charge. And she's having a good time, and she's just being that passenger princess, or just being a girl, not having a thing, living in La La Land. And the only way for her to do that is by you being a man and taking initiative in every situation, whether that's driving, going out to eat, going out on dates. You're planning everything, and she just shows up, and you guys have a good time. But the only way for that to happen is if all the pressure goes on you, you take all the risks of the date might not going well or things going wrong. You take all of it. And that's what being a man is. Because a lot of guys out here, they're kind of just lost. They don't even know where to start. It's like, first you're going 50-50 with your girl. You can't even plan a date. So if you're a guy watching this, start taking control of every situation. Plan the dates. Take the initiative. And put all the pressure on yourself. So an easy way to put it is like this. If anything goes wrong, it needs to be your fault. So you decide every situation, and that way you take the blame for it, and that's what makes a man.
And you bring up really good points, Tez, because look at how immediately being a man and being what you're decisive in and saying what you stand for immediately ties right back into dating. You need that sauce. You need to know that, like, out here, your masculinity naturally complements femininity, assuming that these things are in frame, you know? So that being said, I want to tell you guys a quick story in real life, right? In real life, I would want to say around 2002, 2003, I am watching Fresh and Fit pretty much daily. And around that time, I myself am podcasting and I am doing music, and I'm finding a way to be innovative and talk about the albums that I've created. And in doing so, I have my own ideologies, right? That are rooted in masculinity and just being a normal guy, being a dude, bros talking to bros, just normal shit, right? Normal. Hey, you punch me, I'm gonna punch you type ideology, right? Just simple shit. So I'm putting that in the music, and at that time, F&F is on YouTube, and I have already discovered Rumble, and I'm one of the guys. Like, man, I hope those dudes get on Rumble one day, because like you can find freedom of speech on there. And I'm saying whatever the fuck I want to say on Rumble, right? Sorry about that. France. I meant France. Sorry about what the France I say, right? So I'm doing that, and while I'm taking my video clips and I'm clipping them up, some of the platforms that I speak on, you know, some of the platforms that you guys know and love, actually started removing my videos for ideology. I really want you to think about that. Some of the platforms that I was speaking on were taking my videos down for the ideas that I have in my head while being a man. I really want you to take the time to think about, well, why would someone be taking your ideas away, right? In fact, I'll give you a quick little side note here, right? What is a psychological operation? An easy way, if you guys have heard this before, I heard it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it's true. An easy way to identify a psychological operation is that if what you're saying needs to be silenced. That's how you know you're in one. But if that's not the case, then you're not in a psyop, right? Now, I say all that by which of saying a huge tenement, point number 2 of being a man is knowing what you fight for. Now, let's talk about fighting. What is fighting? Did Martin Luther King roll up on people and start fist fighting them? Did Rosa Parks start karate chopping mailmen who disagreed with her way of thinking? Hell to the no, right? Fighting is about knowing that something is right and speaking on it peacefully without the physical part, to no avail. Knowing something in your heart is true and speaking up until it makes change. In fact, while I was on that example of Fresh and Fit earlier, Kamala Harris has actually written a book about where she goes ahead and mentions that Andrew Tate and Myron Gaines are the reason that she lost the election, blah, 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 blah. And even though it's not true, she's just a very horrible politician. And it is possibly true. What happened is a group of men, no matter how you see those men, got together and started speaking. And the speaking and the power that is in the words of speaking and being aware of something awoken an entire group of men, for better or for worse. And just talking alone, the very thing that they don't want you to do, they don't want you to trust the senses from your body. They don't want you to have thoughts in your head. They don't want you to have ideas, and they don't want you to talk. And I want you to take all those things into account and do exactly the opposite. I want you to fight. I want you to know that if your masculinity is being suppressed, you need to look that teacher in the face. You need to look that parent in the face. You need to look that girl in the face. You need to look all of the people in the face and let them know, I'm a man and I am playing your sissy BS. My way or the highway. You will learn to respect me. And until you draw those lines in the sand, until you fight for who you are, you really will never experience masculinity, which comes with an inherent freedom in being yourself.
Absolutely. And another point with being a good man, a strong man, is keeping your word. We've all heard it. You be a man of your word. Scarface says, "What I only had my word and my balls." Like, it's the truth. You have to keep your word as a man. So if you say you're going to do something, you have to actually do it. That way, when you speak, people actually listen to you. You have conviction in your voice. Growing up, I was a bullshitter. I just said anything. I did anything. If I told you I was going to be there at fucking 8 o'clock, I probably wouldn't be there till fucking 11 p.m. Or I probably wouldn't even show up. I'd say all these things, but it had no weight to it. I was not congruent. So when I spoke, no one listened because I wasn't even listening to myself. I just threw my words out there because they didn't mean anything. So if you're a guy out there who just bullshits, or let's not say that because we're trying to keep it PG. If you're a guy out there who just says anything, doesn't think about what he says, you don't hold your word to yourself, you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, that matters, especially in a relationship, because when you speak to your girl, she's not going to listen to you because you're so out of alignment with yourself that your words just aren't going to stick because they don't hold any weight to you and they don't mean anything. So first, you want to start keeping your word to yourself and keeping your word to other people. If you say you're going to be there at a certain time, show up at that time. If you say you're going to do something, do it. That way you slowly start to gain more confidence in yourself. And when you say something, you speak with a level of conviction to where you actually mean it, and people believe you, they trust you, and they do what you say you're going to do. And so do that. So now when you're in a relationship, once you start keeping your word to yourself, your girl, when you speak to her, you want her to do something. Or when you're talking, she actually listens because you believe what you're saying. Like when I was younger and I talked, I didn't even believe what I was saying. I was just saying anything. So of course, if I'm talking to a girl or anyone else, why would they listen or why would they believe if I'm not keeping my word to myself? So a key thing with being a man is first keeping your word to yourself. And this is, I know it's really simple, it's like 101, but a lot of guys, we got to bring this up because you just have to be aware of it. So ask yourself, are you keeping your word to yourself? If you say you're going to do something, are you actually doing it? Are you following through with it? So start to slowly keep your word to yourself, and you're going to start to see that you're speaking with another level of confidence, so people actually listen to you and take you serious. If you're a guy out there, no one's taking you serious, no one's listening to you, 9 times out of 10, it's probably because you're not listening to yourself. You don't take your words serious, so why would anyone else take you serious? So start keeping your word to yourself so you can start building conviction, confidence when you speak. That way, when you get in a relationship, your girl will actually listen to you and take you serious.
1,000 billion trillion %. To add to what he's saying, if you guys, I don't know what age you are anymore, but if you're like 20 years old, you need to check out this movie called Scarface, a.k.a. Tony Montana, a.k.a. the Cuban drug lord, a.k.a. one of the best movies that you'll ever see. And there's a very famous line in that movie where he says, listen, all I have in this world is two things: my word and my balls. And that's the truth, man. You really only got your word. You can really only judge a man by his word. If he says he's going to be there, he's going to be there. If he says he's the best at this, he's the best at that. Shows up, he shows up. You come correct, you come right. That's how you earn respect in the world, right? Men earn respect by their word. Women do not. For example, let's say that you're dating with a girl and she says that she's going to be somewhere at a certain time and she's not. You're still going to want to have sex with her, you know what I mean? Or if you're disrespected on time, you probably are going to throw her out and get a new girl. But you've probably been in a situation where you're sitting down and the girl's putting on makeup and taking forever. And because she's taking forever, you immediately are like frustrated, want nothing to do with her anymore. You're losing all the happiness in the night. And you're just like, man, forget all that. But you can't necessarily hold a woman accountable in that regard, even though you want to, because the woman has no accountability in her mind anyway, right? So because that's a losing battle. The reality of her world has never caught up to the fact that it's pushing her to be on time or to do something earlier or to get it done. She's just self-righteous and thinks that anything can be her way, and because that she has never had her friends or her family or her parents or anyone reinforce timeliness in beauty, this delusional being doesn't have to adhere to what you have to adhere to as a man. Masculinity. If you say you're going to be somewhere, you be somewhere. If you say you're going to be on time, you be on time. If you say you're going to be number one at something, if you say you're going to fight, you say you're going to hustle, you do that by brutality and force. That being said, that really comes to the next one. Love. A man is definitely an ingredient of being a man is about what he loves, right? So let's peel that back many, many layers. Go ahead and play a movie called Saving Private Ryan, or talk to people who have been in war years ago, and there's very famous scenes in the movies where like the soldier will be in the trenches, and when he's in the trenches and he's facing death from the opposing army and bullets are flying his way and he knows doom is imminent and he's made his final plays, homeboy is damn near bleeding out, all of his homies are blown up next to him. He looks inside of his helmet, and the last thing that he cares to see is the picture that he took of his wife and his kid. The reason that he's out there in the mud, risking his life for his land, his country, his home, and his white picket fence and his dog, is because this guy knows what he loves. And if he doesn't love anything, he's not willing to fight for anything. So let's peel that back another layer, right? With the disconnect of men and women in the current dating market, with all these girls having their meat tacos blown out and their back doors railed and completely effing useless, there's not a whole lot to love there, right? There's no purity for you to love. There's no women adhering to your way for you to love. And when love is taken out of the equation, this is going to be a very relatable point in time for you guys, and I need you to figure out something right now, right? Because these women are trained to hate men, you get nothing to love, so you need to figure out something else until you find a woman using 5-star that you vetted out for a relationship in the right way, right? And I pray to God dearly that you do find a woman that you can know, nurture, and love. Or women, because you know I'm not about that one girl bullshit, BS. What I want you to do is I want you to, take time. Maybe find love in your family. Maybe find love in God. Maybe find love in a pet. Maybe find love in what you do. Maybe find love in a sport. Maybe find the love of brotherhood and community. Maybe serving the homeless. Maybe putting yourself out there and being a proactive leader in the community. You need to love what you do, and you need to find something that is worth fighting for. And honestly, you need to find something that's worth fighting for, like a soldier. Because that is when you start really tapping into what it is to be a man, what it is to be tapped into your masculinity. You have to say to yourself, if the opposing military, if the opposing nation, if the opposing country were to invade my country right now, what is the one thing that would make me pick up weapons and start fighting physically against them to win? And when you find that, you know what you love and you know what you fight for. And that is one of the hardest, most key essentials to being a man. You wouldn't even like Goku if you didn't know what he fought in love for, you know?
Absolutely. And that's a really good point. And a man, he chooses logic over emotion. He has his emotions in control, and it's about what he's thinking, not what he's feeling. So a man, and to bring up what Chris was talking about, a man doesn't fall in love with women. He has love for women. When you're a man and you fall in love with the women, you've lost control. You've fallen, like you've hit the ground. You no longer control anything. You're all led by feelings. That is a way that a woman loves. You have love for her as a person, as a human, but you haven't fallen in love with her. Because the moment you fall in love, your emotions have taken control, and then at that point, those are the guys who off themselves because their girl cheated on them. Those are the guys who end up offing their girlfriend because their girl did some stuff that she shouldn't have been doing. Those are the guys that fell in love with their women because they lost control of their mind. They started being led with their heart. So it's very important to distinguish that as a man, you have to put your mind over your heart, because the moment you start prioritizing your heart, that is when you're going to do irrational things, and you can make really dumb and not smart choices that could lead you down the wrong path. So when you have love for a woman, you're prioritizing your mind. If you want to blow her phone up because you haven't saw her in a long time, or you haven't heard from her, you want to send her all these text messages. A guy who's leading with his heart, he's going to send out 20 messages to a girl. He's going to keep blowing her phone up. The guy that's thinking with his mind, he's going to be like, you know what? It might be over. It was good while it lasted. I'm going to give her some space. If we meet each other in the future, we meet each other. If not, we don't. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to go about my life and reach my goals, and that's going to be that. That's what a guy who chooses his mind over his heart. The guy who's leading with his heart, who's falling in love with the woman, he's blowing her phone up. He's worried about her all day. He can't even freaking
right?
He can't even freaking work his job because he is fuck that shit. Nah, TikTok, you guys will be okay, but but it will be okay. It will be okay.
We trying out here for y'all.
Yeah. No, we gotta be good. We gotta be on the right, do the right things with this internet stuff, because to get farther, we have to. But a guy who's being led with his emotion, he's gonna blow her phone up, get violent with her, hit her, take it to the next level, because he's now being controlled by his emotions. The guys that are controlled by their emotions, those are the school shooters or the guys who are doing really dumb things. One of the most scariest people in the world is a man who's controlled by his emotions. Scariest or just unpredictable, just untrustworthy man is a guy who's led by his emotions, because that's when things get violent and get taken to the next level. So if you're a guy out there and you're in a position to where your girl cheated on you, or you're going through a hard time and you have all these emotions built up, you need to learn how to take a step back, whether it's for a few hours or a day, and realize that I'm in the heat of the moment. Let me come back to this topic tomorrow or the next day, and then I'll make a decision. I'll figure it out then. It's hard. I get it. I've been in tough situations. But the moment you could stop prioritizing your emotions and start prioritizing your mind, think down the road. If you're in a situation where your feelings are overwhelming because you care so much about a situation, in that moment, start to think, if I did this, what would I think about this a week from now? What would I think about this a month from now, this decision? What would I think about a year from now? Because if you react just in the moment based off your feelings, chances are you're going to regret that decision that you make down the road. But if you're in the moment, you can catch yourself and think, am I going to regret this down the road? How is this going to make me think now? How am I going to think about this down the road? How am I going to feel about this down the road when time passes? If you're able to do that in the moment, you're going to be much better off. Because guys who lead with their emotions, they make very irrational decisions that could put them at jeopardy, ruin their reputation, and just not be a good look for them. So ask yourself, are you a guy who's prioritizing your feelings or your mind?
Yo, and to kind of summarize what you're saying there, one of the things that I think about when you bring up this topic is that if you want to upset a strong man, tell him a lie. And if you want to upset a weak man, tell him the truth. Right? Big facts, dog. Weak emotional men are absolutely scary in a very weak, unflattering way. If you cannot control your emotions, which, believe it or not, I've seen this. One time I went to an IHOP, and there was a homosexual receptionist, right, or the one who takes your seats, and he was getting really angry, and he couldn't control his emotions. He was getting because he's in the feminine frame, he was starting to get violent. And even though it was extremely laughable, not a good look for that guy, right? He was just like, right? Because even though he wants to play the delusion of the fake reality that he's built for himself, in reality, it's still a bad look, no matter how you want to delude yourself into believing in this game that they play, right? So, moving forward here. God, that's disgusting. I hope none of you guys getting into that. Please be a 5-star gentleman. Moving on to the next topic here. This is a huge component of masculinity, and I'm going to give you guys yet again another story where I've encountered people trying to fight against this in my own personal life. I remember taking a job as a younger dude in my 20s, say on the later side of my 20s, and I'm all dressed up for this job. I'm in my suit. I'm peer to peer with all the other people in the orientation for this job. And the guy who has been S-ing his own D for the entire time that he's been giving in orientation, who's super proud of all that he has made and built, and pretty much showing off and being like a braggart instead of a leader, is talking about things from the point of view of how much success he's had in this company and how much success we will have by virtue of such. And in doing so, I remember he asked a question to people in the room of the orientation. And some of the men raised their hand in answering his question, where he said, like, what do you think is the most important thing you guys can do here? Some of the dudes raised their hand and said, legacy. Have built a legacy. To which, when I heard that, it registered in my head as, yeah, absolutely. And then that guy, the guy who was hiring us, started making fun of that and saying that that was absolutely laughable, right? Like he was making fun of the idea that you're coming to work and you're earning money to leave a legacy behind, and that legacy doesn't really mean anything and it doesn't really matter. So you already know right there, he's probably worse than blue pill ideology. He probably is so deep into the corporate life that he's just revealing his face for the fact that he wants you to run on the hamster wheel of life forever and make sure that you never get anything but a drip package of money that's predetermined before you get there. And in that revelation, I want you guys to understand that I looked that job in the face and walked the other way because of a difference, yet again, in ideology before RP was the thing on the internet. The natural awareness that comes with being red pill aware, truth aware, led me to victory, naturally, safely. Without that knowledge, I could be working in a company that doesn't give a F about my legacy, and I could be giving my all to this company while they're taking all from me, right? You never know. Life works out in a lot of funny ways, but God has protected me, and here I am telling you guys, one of the core fundamental components and tenements of being a man is knowing what you fight for, knowing what you love, knowing what you stand for, that by virtue of all of these things, the future that you're building can leave a legacy. So for example, let's say Tez has 10 or 15 kids by many different women. I know each and every one of those kids that are men are not going to have any trouble getting chicks. So the Tez genes are going to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going because of one man's decisions. Legacy. Whoever passes their genes on, you get to experience legacy. Now, let's add another layer to that. Passing the genes on is just like the cool little fundamental scientific approach, but the stories, the things that you did, the things that you stood for, are the things that are told and passed down through generation through legacy and legacy thereafter. And what you did means a lot to people. Like, I'll give you an example right now. There is a Michael Jackson movie coming out, right? And for better or for worse, whether or not you loved Michael Jackson, he was a beloved pop star for the time that he was around. And right now, even in his hiatus or death or non-death or absence or whatever you want to call it, because so many people around the world love Michael Jackson for what he brought to the world in music, right now his nephew is playing him in a movie. And I want each and every one of you men to have your own version of that in your own home. If you were great at building cars, if you were great at racing, if you were great at football, I want you to have kids that carry on your story and who you were and what you stood for and what you fought for and what your last name meant. And the more that you concentrate on that, the more that you will carry a legacy. And that is the most important thing of all. You know, when you meet people that have had kids and the kid looks exactly like them and the kid acts exactly like them and sometimes they sound like them and talk like them, it's just this amazingly beautiful thing where you get to see that the story of you and what you mean and what you are and who you are and what you resembled will keep being passed throughout life. Here at 5-Star, we've created a platform by which you can become a 5-star ultimate badass James Bond, fully featured, fully packed, fully built gentleman. We want you to be a top 10 out of 10 man. We want you to be the best man that you could possibly be. And by virtue of such, you will pass on your legacy. That is an absolute virtuous thing that you need to hold on to and pass through your being.
Definitely, you have to. And while you're doing that, a man is someone who builds his character, who has gone through hard times, experienced things. A man who hasn't gone through anything, if you're a guy who's 25 years old, you've had a good life, your parents have cuddled you a little bit, you haven't gone through any real hard times, you haven't experienced being broke or being in debt, or you haven't gotten cheated on yet, you haven't gone through any real hardship, you're not a man, a strong man. Yes, you can still not go through anything and then be a man, make some money, and it'll be okay. But a man who's worth listening to has gone through things. He's made it through hard times. So if you're a guy out there who has no experience, build your character. Go do some hard stuff that's gonna make you want to quit or make you want to give up. Go through that character building phase. Because a real man, he has those stories that Chris is talking about, where times were rough for him. He almost didn't make it. But all that was character building. So a man is someone who's gone through hard times, built his character up, and he's overcame adversity, and he's someone that's worth listening to, looking up to. Because if you're a guy, you haven't gone through anything in life, life has just been easy for you, people are going to sense that when you talk, when you speak, and no one's going to listen because you haven't gone through any real adversity to build your character. It's like an old man who has gray hair all over gray hair everywhere, a guy who looks old. You're more likely to listen to him because you assume that he's gone through things. He's older, he has experience. So you want to be that guy as young as you possibly can, just by you going through life and putting yourself through hardships, whether that's getting in a combat sport or sleeping in your car. I've done that. I've slept in my car for character building. I'm like, I need to build some character. Let me sleep in your car. Whether it's sleeping in your car or waking up at 5 a.m. to go run every morning, it could be anything. Just add some kind of hardship to your life to where it makes you build character, to where it's something that you don't want to do and you just do it anyways so you can build character and become a stronger man. Because I was that guy, when I was young, didn't go through anything hard, just life easy mode, just not caring. And I'm like, I just got to do something hard. I got to get some hardship about myself. I got to go through some kind of experience. And then when you do that as a man, you have another level of perspective. So when you speak in a conversation, you can bring in different ideas or new ideas. You come from a different way of looking at things because you've gone through adversity. You've gone through real life hardship. So you have a unique perspective. If you get a guy in the room who's 18, 21, he hasn't gone through anything, he's not, 9 times out of 10, he's not going to have really an in-depth perspective because he hasn't gone through anything. So you want to be a man that has made it through adversity, hard times, and who's overcame it. Because you can just tell when guys speak, like for example, Andrew Tate, when he speaks, it's like you can tell you've went through something, you've done something to earn your spot, to earn your stripes. Like I could just sense that, so they're worth listening to, and that's who you want to be. Even there's a young guy, you know those guys who like come up to you on the street who are like interview like millionaires. He was interviewing like young millionaires. This dude was like 23 years old that he interviewed, and he had like such a good ass perspective. Like this guy's like 23, he had a good ass perspective, and I'm like, this guy's worth listening to. I could tell he's been through some shit. I don't freaking know his life, and I could tell that he's like gone through some hardship even at the age of 23. So it was good to see that, because I'm like, the way that you speak, you articulate yourself, your tone, it just says that whatever you're saying, I believe it. Because you might just be a good BSer, but he was good at, I believe everything he was saying. Like he was speaking with conviction. I'm like, this guy has went through exactly what he's talking about. So you want to be that guy to where when you're conveying yourself, when you're moving around this life, when you're talking and you speak, because you've gone through real life stuff, people are listening because they sense like, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. When you hear a lawyer speak and he's talking about all these laws and all this stuff, this guy went through 8 years of schooling. I know he just knows everything. I believe it because he went through that hardship of the sleepless nights, taking all these tests, studying all these books to become a lawyer. He went through all that process so he can become the lawyer that he can be today. So be that guy and go through hardship.
Hell to the hell yes. When a man goes through adversity, it really does hold the weight of wisdom in his hands, and he can share that wisdom with you, and that wisdom can level you up because of the harsh realities that he's been through. Where in contrast, in the feminine experience, no matter what a woman has gone through, you never want to hear that shit ever, because she like penises go in her mouth. You do not care what she has to say, right? There is no adversity that a woman can go through where you can learn from that, and that's evident in the female comedy. And as I was stating earlier, if you have a female teacher and she were to sit there and start talking about the adversities that she's gone through, it's really just complaining masked as something else. Whereas when a man goes through harsh realities, it's because he had to. She could just open her legs, take the easy way out, and go live life, and that's not really a thing for a woman. So masculine adversity really, truly is everything. Me and Tez have also been through harsh realities that allow us to give you gentlemen wisdom on what it takes to go from point A to point B, or what it takes to have a studio podcast, or what it takes to level up in dating, or what it takes to be up at 5 a.m. in the gym, or what it takes to overcome being broke so you can stop being poor. Or you guys got to understand, harsh realities shape the men, and in the natural female attraction, women are truly actually attracted to men that they could sense have been through things, because men have to fight to become who they're becoming. And no matter what they say, they are attracted to that, even though in the modern day, you'll hear women talk about a world that's softened to that. For example, you'll hear women even believe that they can fight a man and win against a man, so they live in a bubble where everything is safe and everything is cool and everything is like, they live in a delusional reality. But men do not get to experience delusion at all. They're constantly reinforced with reality, and that's why when a man has gone through harsh realities and survived them, you know what it takes to become a man, or a piece of a man like that. That being said, producer Billy, before I go on to the next point here, camera A and a cold black coffee.
And it's interesting why he's doing that, why they're doing that. Like, there are girls who find it attractive when a guy has a black eye, or some kind of scar, because it shows that he's gone through some kind of hardship and he's overcame it. And it shows that you have experience. Even with the job, your job wants you to have experience for a couple years or whatnot so you can get the job. So you want to be that guy, have that life experience, and your girl, she's going to respect you more for when you have that experience, because she knows she trusts you more as a leader. You don't want to walk onto a plane and the pilot tells you this is his first flight. You're gonna be like, what the heck is going on? What the hell is going on? And you're probably gonna want to get off that plane. I know I would. If someone told me it's their first time flying, I'm like, damn, maybe I shouldn't be on this plane. I want to hear the pilot has been flying for 10, 20 years. He has experience, because I know that he has gone through things, and I trust him more to where if there's a lot of turbulence on the plane, that he's gonna be able to, do it out, fly it out, and everything will have a smooth landing. So your girl's looking at you the same way. The same reason why she doesn't want a virgin, or she doesn't want a guy who hasn't been through anything, is because how is he going to lead me when times get tough? I want a man that's gone through a lot of stuff, that's gone through a lot of hardship, because I know when times get tough, he's already gone through so much in his life that he can now lead me. Excuse me. He can now lead me, so I trust him more and be the guy with a lot of experience. So your girl can look up to you and she can trust you to lead her when times get hard or tough.
And exactly from earlier, because we're discussing this episode, brings me to my next point. Masculinity, what it is to be a man, includes leadership. What is leadership? Well, let's get into it. There is a guy who put out a study about what it was to be an alpha wolf, which would forever coin the phrase being an alpha male in modern day society. And if you go and you look into that man's research, he literally will say that he regrets putting out his article because he put it out too early and it changed the world a little too fast. In his original research, he put out that alpha wolves were the wolves in the front of the pack who were fighting and playing with each other and looking out for things. Later in life, he came to determine that within canine wolves, that the alpha wolf was actually the wolf looking and observing from the back of the pack, watching everybody. You see, part of being a man is that you will inevitably one day be confronted with leadership, and you probably strive to get there, right? Whether it's coded as being a CEO of a company, whether it's coded as being the captain of a team, whether it's being the father in a family, or whether it's being the leader of a pack, at some point your masculinity is admiring or confronted with the fact that you need to be a leader. And ever so quickly, once you do get there, which following 5-star, you will get there, you will instantly mirror who you are as a person. And if you are a greedy person, people will see that you lead with greed. If you're a selfish person, people will see that you lead with selfishness. If you are a corrupted person, an evil person, or just damn near not a good one, people will see who you are immediately. If you get in front of a bunch of cameras and start talking, people will see you for who you really are. And for this episode, what I'll say is that if you are a man and you're coming here to 5-star and you're learning about leadership for the first time, I would have to assert to you that leadership involves a lot of selflessness. So let me break down what I mean by that. If you are a father, you do not necessarily walk around and rule with an iron hammer for the sake of your own sake. That's not what me and Tez promote. That's not what we push. If you are to rule with an iron hammer, that means that you are to be of discipline because you are looking out for the best of your people. If you have a wife or wives, you take a back seat to your interests in order to assert their interests. If you have children, you take a back seat to your interests and assert their development. You understand? If the sum total of your life is that you mind all the people around you and use them and stepped on them to make yourself bigger and taller and pronounce yourself, you are a B-I-T blankety blank blank. Fill in the blanks because I can't curse, right? But if you spend your time building people, listening to people, thank you, spending time with them, hearing them out, developing things with them.
We do it live, we do it. No.
We do it live. Audio got cut out. Hello, hello? Audio's cut? Power's cut? Oh, it died. The mixer died?
It's on.
It's on?
Now it's on.
Hello, hello?
We're good.
Alright, hit the... Yo, you guys get to hear us right here, right now.
Sounds like echoey now.
Hit the denoise until it's off. Now hit the red. Did it die again?
Yeah.
Plug it in. I got you. Don't worry, we do it live.
Live. We'll be right back.
We do it live. It's a test takeover, bro.
We are, as you see, we're experiencing technical difficulties. That's what you do. That's what you get when going live. But hey, we out here. We're about to be right back. I know y'all probably can't hear shit, might not be able to hear anything. So,
Hear that, huh?
see in a moment.
It's on.
We got producer Billy and we got Chris in the cut. Getting us together. Let's go. We out here. Let's get it. Yo. We back at it. We back at it. We
Back
had
at it like
it was
a
a Matrix attack trying to get us. A Matrix attack. They're not gonna be able to beat us. We still here. Let's get it.
Unbeatable,
Let's go.
bro. See, leadership right there. Ain't nobody mad, ain't no one upset, ain't no one yelling. We just handling business. That is what I want from you guys. Just handling business. Whether it's leadership with your people, talk to your guys, get to know them. If it's leadership with your women, listen to them and give them good direction. If it's leadership with your kids, hear them out and always speak onto the development of them and the forward-facing future of them. Even if it's your animals, do your best for your dogs, cats, iguanas, whatever you got at home. Leadership requires you to be able to take a lot of hits. That adversity that we were talking about earlier, these harsh realities that you need to go through, that is the character building and the shaping that you need in order to be able to become a rock, a stone, a stoic member of your community so that people can come to you and rely on you for your reason. And do not underestimate the power of this, because you would be surprised in your normal day how many people rely on you to do this and to have this, and this natural tenement of masculinity changes communities. It really is important that you listen and take heed to this.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like if you're a guy who gets emotional when something doesn't go right, when something little happens and you start getting emotional, you start throwing temper tantrums and getting upset at the world, that's a sign that you haven't gone through anything. That's why when you start throwing this temper tantrum and people start laughing at you because you look like a female, you look like a girl. So a sign of a guy who's gone through stuff is when stuff hits the fan, you don't get upset, you just stay calm and you wait for the storm to pass. So it's a very feminine trait. If you're a guy who's always getting mad, upset, punching the walls, acting like a little kid, that's a sign that you haven't been through enough. You haven't done that. When I was a little kid, I used to do that. I used to go crazy. Something didn't go my way, I'm punching stuff, I'm getting upset, I'm angry, I'm punching the walls, I'm upset. It's because I didn't have any life experience. I didn't know, I didn't have any experience, so anytime something didn't go my way, I'm upset. I'm mad at the world. So a key important factor of being a man is having some resolve about yourself because you've gone through hard things. And your girl will appreciate that. She'll respect it because she sees that you're someone who's worth looking up to, and she can trust you to weather the storm anytime something doesn't go right. So just keep that in mind, because it's very interesting. It's okay for your girl if something goes bad with her food's not the way she wants it to be, or she's mad, someone said something to her and she just upset, her day's ruined. Excuse me. That's an attractive trait to have, because it shows that life has been easy for her. It's good if life has been easy and okay for your girl. We don't want a girl who has scars, who've had all these broken bones, who've done all these things. Like, we want them to be pure, but it's the complete opposite. They want you to have some experience, and they want you to have some kind of battle scars or some kind of hardships that you've gone through, so they can trust you more. So it's interesting how it works. As what's acceptable for a female, it's not acceptable for a man at all. If I see a girl get upset, start getting mad, angry, cussing because something doesn't go right, I'm just like, okay, it's like she just being a girl, like, okay, like I get it. But then if the same shit happens to the dude, same stuff happens to the dude, and he starts getting upset, throwing chance, I'm like,
I ain't hanging out with him no more.
Exactly, like it's time to get away from this guy, like real stuff.
Bro.
So, but it's just a sign that you haven't gone through stuff. So, control your emotions. That's the takeaway from this.
And I think, Tez, you were touching on this point earlier, and it's a point that I actually wanted to go into it as well. Decisiveness. Holy cow, this is a huge problem in dating. Let's talk about decisiveness real quick. If I were to convey to you the amount of women that I've met over the years to complain about a man's lack of decisiveness, this is what it sounds like from a girl. I pay for all the... pitch me up.
Let's go. I pay for all the dates. And I go 50-50 with him on everything. He doesn't know where to go. I'm planning the dates and it sucks. I have to decide where we're going tonight and it's not fair. He didn't even pick the movie. He didn't pick the food. He didn't pick the dinner. He didn't pick the sauce. He doesn't know what gifts to get me. Pitch me back on a normal.
Hit that again? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Gang. Can you hear me, gang? Yeah. That is what it's like for the girls, man. They are complaining about every facet of dating, and it is the worst. It is horrible. These women are literally interacting and encountering men that straight up don't be decisive with anything. And I can only imagine that in a woman's perspective, when she goes to you for leadership and she goes to you for masculinity and she's going to a man and expecting the man to be a man, just by which if you were to go to a gumball machine, you would put 25 cents in and expect a friggity diggity gumball to come out. She's expecting to go up to a man and get the experience of masculinity out of the man, and when you're not giving that to her, she's losing her mind. I would only imagine that she's literally thinking to herself, why is this happening? I don't understand why this is happening. I'm going to go put on my rosy colored pink lens glasses again and go float through reality and be a woman and float into La La Land until I go find some other guy that hopefully puts me back on my feminine path by virtue of his masculinity. It is absolutely the worst to hear how many women are being failed by you men not being men. Decisiveness means that you have a plan. Decisiveness means that you see the future. Decisiveness means that you know where you are going. When I say I am on the Chris train going down the Chris tracks to the Chris destination, there's a lot of decisiveness in between point A to point B, and point B is death at age 1055, because we don't have time to die out here. That's how hard me and Tez are working. We know where we are going because we know the game and what game we're playing and why we're playing it. And if you don't know this thing, you should not be dating and making men look bad and leaving it up for me to hear about how bad you did to go and fix everything that you didn't do with my genitalia for her, because I'm now the one who's getting ended up with her because you and your indecisiveness leaves her with me. So decisiveness is really what it actually takes to be a man. If you don't have this, you got to understand what you look like. Let's peel back a couple layers again. Let's talk about a common stereotype. You talk to a girl and say, "Hey, honey, what do you want for lunch?" And she says, "I don't know. You pick." Actually, pitch me up real quick. She says, "I don't know. You pick." All right, pitch me back on to normal. Right? So, okay. That's what you sound like. You literally sound like that. You sound like that to her. One more time, Billy. This is what your men sound like.
I don't know. You pick.
That's what you sound like to her when you don't know what's going on, bruv. I hope that illustrated that for y'all, because she needs to know that you're leading her down the tracks. She needs to know that when she comes to you, and test you with her annoying words and her annoying BS, and she says all this annoying stuff, and she's adjusting your frame and saying things that you don't want to hear because you're a man and you can't listen to a woman talk anyway. She wants to know that you remain stoic and you are the leader down that path. Quick decisiveness and knowing where to go is everything. And you know, a lot of that looks like what you see here on this podcast. Every time you've ever seen a girl come on this show, I'm telling them what to wear. Anytime that you're going out on a date, you need to plan that stuff out. You need to say, listen, wear this, go here, be here at this time, don't think about anything. You need to make sure that the woman does not think. She shouldn't have to think about time, she shouldn't have to think about money, she shouldn't have to think about clothes. The less that she has to think, the more happy she will be. And the more happy she will be, the more happily she will ride that D. Tell me, homie.
1000%. That's fire. And we gave him some heat today. We gave him some real life fire, broke down some key important factors on how to be a good, strong man and how to get on the right path. That way you're becoming someone that a woman will listen to and other people will as well. So we give him some fire today.
Yo, listen, I gotta really talk to you guys and tell you what's going on. You need to follow us on X, you need to follow us on YouTube, you need to follow us on TikTok, you need to follow us on Rumble, you need to follow us everywhere that we are in our Linktree, Linktree/5-star live stream. You need to take the time to network with me and Tez. You need to get inside of our email group. You need to get inside of our Telegram. We are updating this place like fire. We've taken a lot of time to give you guys what you deserve. We've taken a lot of decisiveness, leadership, and legacy to make sure that we're leaving you guys on a very firm and solid path to bring you into the 5-star community where we already have men actively coming to be here and a part of this stage. You guys are coming in on the earlier part of this adventure and getting a lot of sauce. Me and Tez have not even begun to tap into what we have to give you. But at the same time, our time is getting more valuable, man. We got some stuff to do right now. We have had a blessed time with you guys, but we want to let you know we come to this YouTube channel to bring you guys the sauce, and we are just starting to turn up the heat.
Yes, sir. We are out here following all platforms, 5-star live stream, high demand Tez, unplugged Tez. We out here. Let's get it.
Get it, gang. You already know. Let's go.